So Sanchin was one of the katas that was taught to Kanban by Shishiwa. True statement? 3 katas, 3 main katas, Seisan and Sanseru. So back then, we don't have the technology that we have today. So when you think of Shishiwa back in the day, when he was teaching Kanban, or probably even before that, what was his main source of income? And wasn't teaching martial arts. What was he? He was a medicine man, wasn't he? He kind of went around and he helped people with ailments, using you know, holistic type potions or whatnot, and also Chinese medicine. It's been around for thousands of years. So do you think they would have incorporated that into maybe their martial arts training? I would think so, because they're saying, well, wait a minute, if this stuff heals, then it can also hurt. If we kind of reverse the technique. So, in that being said, there's a lot to be read into our Sanchin Kata, if you think about it. So if we take the classical meridians, which are bilateral, 12 that are bilateral, 6 on the upper, 6 on the lower, and then you get the 2 center, we can look at Sanchin in that way. So even the opening movement of Sanchin, when we stand here and do our opening movement here, right here, we can actually apply a meridian, which is called the stomach meridian. Now the stomach meridian starts right here underneath the eye, comes down, comes up here, and then it comes back and it comes right down through the clavicle and then straight down here, and then it V's down right to the bottom of the foot, okay? So that's kind of like the path of the stomach meridian, all right? Now when you hit more than one spot on that meridian, you're going to cause a traumatic effect. If you hit 3, that's even going to amplify it even more, okay? So the first movement in our Sanchin, when we think about it, is as we bow here, as we step forward, the first thing we're doing is stepping on the foot. Now we've just activated the stomach meridian because it's on that second toe, okay? And then what happens is now we're going to shoot our Sanchin Strike right into the center, right? If you think of it as 4 different quarters, we're going to go in the 2 inner quarters lines, and we're going to cause the body to react. So we're stepping on their foot, we hit here, and then what do you think happens when we hit them in that low? They're going to bend over, right? Now, when we come up like this, what are we hitting? Yeah, we could be hitting the stomach. Remember, the stomach meridian comes here, comes around to the side here. Now it intersects here, right? And then it comes down the throat. So when I come up like this, the chances of you hitting the stomach meridian are pretty great, because you have a lot of area that you can actually hit to get that third attack on the meridian. Because all you have to do is hit one point to activate it. The second point, you're going to degrade the energy. When if you hit the third one, that's just going to shock through the body. So can I borrow you, John, for a second? So if John's here, left or forward. So let's say if he's got me grabbed here, we'll just pretend here, and I step right here on this foot. I just activated it, and now I'm going to drive in this way. Now, if I really hit him hard, and just pretend that I hit you hard, he's going to come forward. As soon as he comes forward, I come up like this, and now I probably could have knocked him out, or at least dazed him enough that I could take advantage of that, okay? So that's ideally what we want to look at. So here, so he grabs, he's holding me or whatever, and I just step on the foot, and I can even do it as I'm driving in. I could step on the foot and then drive in at the same time. And if I hit him really hard, he's going to come forward, and then I just come up. Right here is stomach 5. That's the knockout punch. That's the one all the boxers go for. If I hit that coming up, you think he'll get knocked out? Because now I'm hitting both sides now. Remember, they're bilateral. I only have to hit one side. But if I hit both sides, oh my God, you've just like amplified it 10 times. All right? So you guys working with each other? Kind of, sort of? Just kind of just go through that with, if you can grab a partner, maybe try that. or if you're by yourself, just kind of think about those movements. You know what I mean? As you're doing this here, you're stepping on the stomach, you're striking the stomach, and then you're coming up and hitting the stomach up underneath. Oh, okay. Yeah, just do the motion. Yeah, I just want you to kind of think about it as you go through it. You know what I mean? You want to try it on me, John? I mean, that's fine. Sure. Yeah. Right. So just you guys kind of pretend that you're kind of getting hit hard and then you're bending over. So you know we got to kind of role play a little bit, but it's just more of they're there. It's more of a concept at this point. So if I grab you here and you step here, step boom, and then strike, oh, and then oh, yeah. Okay. You see what I mean? So that's This? Yeah, it doesn't matter because it goes straight up this way anyway. So it doesn't matter where you step.
Okay, so you don't need to be like exactly precise?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. All you're doing is like stepping, like you're playing guitar, you just step on the pedal.
Okay.
You know, just go like that. And then, you see what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Coming here. See how it kind of gets you going forward there? And then as you come forward, I just come up quick and I'm bound to hit something. Okay?
So these are all pressure points for going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, do you have to be precise? No. The thing is that you're just going through the motions that you've already been doing in Sanchin, but now you have some purpose behind it. All right, what's my objective to that? As I step down on the foot, I strike, and I come up. So what we're doing is we're tracing the stomach meridian right up the body. Okay, we're starting at the very end of it, and we're working our way to the top of it. Now, if I hit them here right in the eye, because that's where stomach 1 is, if I hit them right there in the eye, I've got anywhere here in the front, anywhere along the side here, and right where that little notch is, it comes down right into, through here, stomach 9, and then it comes across the clavicle here, and then it goes straight down and V's in and comes straight down and comes back out and right down the foot.
How precise are you on the first, where and...
Well, like I said, come here. If you look at him, right, just face that way. If you look at him in quarters, center line, then you got a quarter here and a quarter here. Right about where the quarters are here is where the stomach is. It runs straight down here, okay? And that's really where you want to hit him. When you strike in, you're going low. Why would we go lower? Well, if you look at somebody, even like John's a perfect example of that. He's a bodybuilder, he likes to lift weights. All his big muscle mass is up here. As it goes down his stomach, the muscle starts to get smaller and tenderer. He can work on them and get them strong. But the thing is that the lower I go, the more sensitive it is. If I go below the belt, now I start hitting the bladder area, and he's going to have a hard time with that. Because I don't know how hard you work out. I don't think he can really develop that area that well.
I've never tried.
Right, but you know what I'm saying? So for the most part, this is going to be a vulnerable area more so than up here, especially for somebody that does work out, you know. And that's like, even here, like even with the Sanchin Strike, when I'm standing here like this, I think of going towards the solar plex. I don't think of going towards the chest cavity, because my finger's not going to be strong enough to penetrate that, okay? Unless I work my hands and, callous them like crazy, but hey, this is modern age, man. We don't do that stuff anymore. So coming here, I always think of the solar plex as I'm driving in. Or I come in with the shokin into the solar plex if I don't feel my fingers are strong enough. Or even a seekin. And when I punch with the seekin, I always punch with a vertical fist, never a flat fist. The reason why they taught the flat fist was for safety. Because if you try to punch something in the solar plex, you're going to get caught on each side, and you're not going to be able to penetrate. Because remember, it goes like this. A V shape or a triangle, however you want to look at it. So as I punch, I come in more of a vertical punch into that if I really want to penetrate. So that with the open Sanchin Strike, that kind of gives us that, okay? Harakan, it doesn't matter how you do it. That's the target, is the solar plex. Even though they tell you, right underneath the, pectoral, yeah, I mean, that's all well and good. But coming straight in with the Sanchin Strike, it's going to be hard to penetrate that. If anything, you're just activating buttons, boop, beep, doop, boop, Now I'm just playing with you guys. All right, so do you guys all set with that? You kind of understand that? That's the stomach meridian that we're kind of activating there. And with the Sanchin Strike, what we're doing here is we're trying to get right into the solar plex area. That's where I would aim for, okay? Now, even though in the kata we kind of almost come straight out, I kind of bring it in a little bit more to the center, okay? Because that's really where I want to be. I want to be here. You know, anywhere else, it's just, it's not good for an open hand technique. I would tend to want to close it, okay? Any questions so far on that one? Okay. Now the next one is the Uechi. Okay, we do the Uechi. Okay. So when we think of our kata, you got to remember that the reason why we do the katas the way we do is it's a way for somebody to practice their training, but at the same time they're not forgetting their critical points where they would strike. Like when we start the Uechi, we're pointing to the large intestine 10. I know I've talked to you guys about that before, where this is one of the points that you can actually maneuver somebody's body. Okay, you can control their body if you can control that point there. But when we talk about the Uechi here, when we're doing the motion here, we're actually, can I borrow you again, John? I know. I need an uke to do this, so put your left foot forward. So here I step on the foot again, because guess where? The next meridian we're going to talk about is the liver meridian. The liver meridian starts at the base of the foot, similar to where the stomach is. So don't worry about where it is, just step on the foot. You don't have to be precise. It's not like one of these where I got to get my toe right in that one spot. That's not how it works. All you're doing is just activating it. Okay? Because what happens, as soon as I activate that, that whole liver meridian is going here to defend it. So what I've just done by stepping on that, I just weaken. It doesn't have to be hard. All you have to, it's just a touch. Okay? All I'm doing is just trying to bring attention to that spot. Because as soon as I threaten that, that whole liver meridian is actually going to defend that. So now it's all rushing there to protect it. Okay? It's because that's what it does. It goes into protection. The end of the meridian ends right here, liver 14. So when we think of Uechi, we're going for liver. People, you guys can see, okay? I got to forget. I keep forgetting you guys on the virtual. Liver 14 is right here, and liver 13 is right here. What does that look like? That looks like our Uechi strikes, doesn't it? So what we're doing is we're activating here, and then we're double clipping 2 liver meridians, 1 on each side. So typically what they say is if you clip something on the same meridian, it's going to meet in the middle, and that's where the pain's going to be. So he's probably going to feel the pain somewhere in here. Okay, as soon as I hit him. So if he's standing here like this, turn this way a little bit. Okay, I step here, I got the block here, and I strike here. Hitting here and here at the same time. Okay, so that's basically what I'm trying to do. So what that does is it traces the liver meridian as well. So that gives me another target that I'm shooting for. So now when you do these movements, you're like, oh, okay, well, this motion here is going for the stomach meridian, or this motion here is going for the liver meridian. Does it matter where they're at? No, you naturally go to where they're supposed to be. You just never knew that that was called liver 14. This one's liver 13, okay? So and this, liver 1's down here, because that's where it starts, then it comes up. So that's what we're actually striking, okay? So when we think of these things, when we're going through our kata, we just don't want to go through the kata because this is the way we chose you to. Now you have some direction and some purpose, what you're trying to do with it. Does that make sense? Now, if I just stepped him here and just shot him there, do you think that would hurt? Probably. Or if I didn't even step on his foot and I just shocked him here, you think that would hurt? Probably. Right? But that's why we typically step forward when we do these motions. Because we want to pin the foot. Because we want him, when we hit him, what do we want to do? What's our objective? Let's get him off balance. Remember, whoever's off balance usually will not win the fight. So the objective is to keep yourself in balance at all times. So try that with your partner. See how that goes. Now, when we think of these movements, come over here, John, again. So when we think of these movements, when we do the striking, just like any other striking, we want to create some variance when we make the contact. So when we throw a punch, we just don't throw the punch and hit it straight out. What's the last thing we do at the end of that punch? We turn it over, right? Depending on what you're doing. So it's almost the same concept with the Uechi. When we're striking here, we kind of just want to change direction a little bit. When we're coming up here, maybe push up. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you see at the very end, there's just that little variance. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to cause, because what happens is when I touch him, his body's going to react to it. But if I change direction, what do you think it's going to do? He's still worried about the initial contact. He's not worried about the variation. So once I create that variation, he's not prepared for it. And ideally, our objective is to attack our partner so they're not prepared for it, so they don't know how it's going to wind up. So when we're striking here, it should be just like a slight push there. Do you feel that a little different? Just a little bit, just a little bit of difference. Just kind of like shoot down here and shoot up a little bit here if you want, okay? Now, do you have to do it with the open hand? No, you can do it with Harakens. It'll still work. You could do it with regular double seekins. You think that's going to hurt? Yeah. You know, so it's variation. Usually the open hand techniques are the most lethal. The closed hand techniques are a little bit safer. So if you're in an altercation and you want to make a statement, you could just punch him and not kill him. But with the open hand technique, you're actually increasing the odds of really hurting that person, you know, permanently. So it's kind of like, all right, what do I want to do? Do I just want to show this guy that I'm not messing around, or do I want to take him out completely? Well, most of us, our love for humanity, we probably just want to just make him feel like, you know, hey, don't mess with me. You know what I mean? We're not really out to kill him. But in some cases, that may warrant that type of attack. But, you know, so it really all depends what you're trying to do with it. But it's up to you to make that decision, you know, whether that line has been crossed or not. Is it life or death, or is it just some punk that's just needs a lesson? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, you just got to kind of make that decision, and hopefully it's not the wrong decision. All right? Okay, so we kind of get an idea out of that. We kind of get the Sanchin Strike. We know what's going on with that. So there's really a little bit more in there. So if we think of, do the closed gate for me. Closed gate. Now, what this represents is a lot that you all probably know about, but I'm going to give you something a little bit different to look at. This kind of represents a hammer and an anvil, okay? This is the anvil, the fist is the hammer. So if you want to make an impact, you got to create that hammer and anvil effect. You hold something, then you hit it. Because it's very hard to hit something that's moving. That's why we hold it. That's the whole concept behind the anvil and hammer. So now when we think of this closed gate position, you know, we always say, all right, you know, peace before war, however you want to do it, right? But now if you think of it this way here, in the arm, that's going to be probably the most thing that comes at you, you know, majority of the times. This is what's going to be you're dealing with, is the arm. There's 4 fire meridians on the arm, okay? They all start here, open your hand. These 3 fingers are the fire meridian, but there's actually 4 of them. So the triple warmer runs right across the top of the arm here, and the pericardium runs right in the middle here, all right? Now, they are paired. What I mean by that is that within every meridian, it has a relative, like or a husband or wife. They're paired. So the triple warmer and the pericardium are paired. So if one is attacked, they both come to its defense. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack both of them on both sides. So when we think, if he throws a punch here and I go like this, I hit him like this, or it doesn't matter. I can do double fist. I could do 2 open hands. I could do a double harakan here. Doesn't matter what I do. But if I just do the closed gate here, look what happens. I'm hitting the pericardium on this side, and I'm hitting the triple warmer on this side. So, boom. I mean, you can feel that a little bit, right? Yeah. So that's basically what another thing for the closed gate could be. If he throws a punch, boom. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm doing is I'm just attacking it. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm doing. All right? So try that with your partner, but just go lightly. I went a little bit hard on John because he's a beefer. He's a beef guy.
You were right, too, on the Uechi's when you guys hit me here and here. I felt it here.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just tapped you, so. All right, so just come up underneath the punch and just, So all you're doing is just sandwiching my fist.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that the pericardium runs straight down here, and the triple warm is right here. It kind of zigzags here, like right around this spot, kind of zigzags, but it is straight. So there's really, you don't need to have preciseness there. You just need to.
Okay.
Right. You just need to just strike it. Now you could just catch my arm with the left block, and then just hit it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to like time it where it's hitting at the same time.
Yeah.
You could throw a punch. So I throw it here, one, boom. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I could just hit it like that.
Yeah, I like that.
You know what I mean? So you guys got that? So when that motion there, it could be just a cross block, and then you come in with the punch. So you don't have to catch it both at the same time. All right? So that's ideally what you want to do, because remember, once you make contact with one, it's on alert, 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 and then what you do is you hit the other side, and then you got a nice stinging arm. Yes?
Is that more like in this part?
Right through the center. So right here, if the triple warmer comes straight down here, actually it zigzags right about here, and the pericardium is right down the center here.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter as long as you get both on both sides.
Yeah, we're finding feel it more like in here.
Yeah, you're going to feel it more in here than you would in the medial part.
Okay.
So if you can get it like maybe 4 fingers up from the wrist, that's about perfect.
Miss like I did, hit it right in the
Right. And I was telling John, when John throws the punch, all I have to do is just do a regular cross block and then just come in with the strike. Okay? Same thing if I'm blocking here, I can come up underneath the arm. Right underneath. That's part of the pericardium too. Because the pericardium comes up here and comes along here.
All
And the,
that's the same. So
huh?
that strike in there, that's the same nerve bundle that.
Right. That pericardium. And the heart runs a little closer more to the center, and that ends in near the armpit, the heart. But the pericardium comes up and it kind of curves like this. And everyone knows what the pericardium is, right? It's the sac that's wrapped around your heart to protect it. So that's what you're attacking. Now, when we talk about these organs, when we say liver, stomach, we're actually talking about the actual organs because they are affected by the meridians. But, we're not actually, hitting the stomach if we're touching here and here because we know where the stomach is. It's right here. But all that energy flows through there. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, because I didn't want to get too deep into the pressure point part of it, but I just wanted to give you some relevance to your kata and how they can apply to your kata. So when we look at the body, and we study the body, and we know what its limitations are, because remember, you have the neurological, which is all the makeup of all those muscles and everything else. We got the energetic, which is the flow of the energy to our meridians, and then of course we have skeletal mechanics. And what the skeletal mechanics does, we know that if our body, if I turn my arm too far one way, it's going to break. So we have that to our advantage. So if we can kind of study that a little bit, we can have a little bit more advantage and more tools in our box, in our toolbox, okay? And just having a basic understanding of it, and you don't have to be an expert at pressure points. Just know that they're there. And you don't really have to because you're doing the movements anyway. But now you have some definition of why you're doing them. Why they're there. And I think Shishiwa, when he was probably, and I don't know who taught Shishiwa, and I think that's, the million-dollar question, who taught him, but I'm guaranteed that they actually incorporated Chinese medicine into their training. Because at the time, that's all there was. There wasn't really much more of that. I mean, they didn't even have electricity back then, so it's kind of like, we got to look on how primitive it was and what they've been using for thousands of years for healing. And then somebody said, hey, this could hurt too, if we kind of reverse it or kind of attack it in a different way. So that's kind of like why I'm bringing these little hidden secrets out for you guys, to kind of give you an idea of it's not just the movement, there's got to be a purpose behind it. And I think that could be one of the reasons or the purposes behind why we're doing it in this specific way. Okay? All right, so that's Sanchin in a nutshell, I guess. I mean, there's not a lot to Sanchin, but there is a lot to Sanchin, if you think about it. You know what I mean? Because we always say, well, yeah, that's the foundation of our system, and this is what we base everything on. And well, there's fruit to that labor, why it is the way it is. You know, so I was just hopefully kind of digging in a little bit deeper into some of the movements and how they're relative to the Chinese medicine. Okay. All right. What do you think, John?
I like it.
Good stuff?
Yes, sir.
All right, go line back up. Thank you for being my Uechi. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to LiveDanD.